This video is going to demonstrate how to work with command aliases and external commands by modifying the AutoCAD.pgp file. So our objectives here are to add and modify command aliases and create command line access for external programs and commands such as Microsoft Word or Excel or even Microsoft Explorer. First, a little bit about the AutoCAD.pgp file. The AutoCAD PGP file, program parameters file, defines the aliases and operating system commands. It's easily customizable in AutoCAD. Aliases are those shortened command names, often 1 or 2 letters in length, that you use to access a command. So rather than having to type the long command in, you can simply type in 1 or 2 letters and access the command. The most common ones are things like L for line, E for erase, and so on. But you can make any alias for any command that you'd like. An alias generally should reduce a command by at least 2 characters. It wouldn't make any sense to just change the alias and have the new name just as long as the original. You want to choose an alias that makes sense, and you want to probably not make an alias for commands that have a control key equivalent, such as Control O for open or Control N for new, or that use a status bar button or a function key, because they don't really require any command alias. The easiest way to create a new alias is with the Command Aliases editor in the Express Tools tab. Using the AutoCAD Alias Editor, you can add, remove, or edit aliases. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. Right here in AutoCAD Electrical, just regular AutoCAD, I've got some drawings here, and I've got this line right here that the arrows are pointing, in this case, kind of down towards the other direction here. And I want those arrows to face the other direction, so I want to reverse the direction of that line. There's a command called reverse in AutoCAD, which will do that for us, but there's no alias for it. Now, there is an alias for a command called redraw, but nobody uses the redraw command anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Command Alias Editor to go in and change the alias from redraw to reverse. So we'll come right up here and we'll go to the Command Aliases tool. It's on the Express Tools tab, and then we'll go to Command Aliases and we'll launch that tool. And you'll see right here that this is the AutoCAD, the AutoCAD.pgp AutoCAD Alias Editor. And there are 2 tabs. There's commands and aliases, and then there's shell commands. We'll look at those next. First of all, what we want to do is we want to add a new alias. So I'll click right here on Add, and it'll launch another dialog box, and it'll say, okay, what's the alias that you want to use? And the alias that I want to use is R. Now again, we know that that's currently for redraw, but I want to use it for reverse. So I'll just go to the next box down and I'll start to type in reverse, and eventually you'll see that it shows up. So I want to say, okay, I want to use that with the reverse command. When I choose OK, it's going to say, okay, I made that change for you. You can say OK, and now you can see that R is for reverse instead of redraw. At this point I can choose OK, and it'll tell me again that I've made some changes. I'll choose OK. And now when I want to come in here and reverse the direction of that line, it's simply R for reverse, enter, pick the line, enter, and now it reverses the direction of that line. So easily done, changing an alias or creating a new one. Another thing that we can do with this alias editor is we can invoke external or shell commands. Again, these are not AutoCAD commands. They could be anything, but it could be something like Microsoft Excel. From time to time, you might want to open and edit a Microsoft Excel sheet while you're working in AutoCAD, and then take that information from the spreadsheet and put it into a table or something like that in AutoCAD. But you don't want to have to go to the Start menu and look for Excel. So what you can do is, if you use this alias editor, you can add a directory, or you can add a command, an alias, so that it will automatically launch launch Microsoft Excel. So you're going to define those external commands by specifying the alias to be used from the AutoCAD command line, and AutoCAD passes it through there and into the operating system. So the alias, a couple things about it. It must not be an existing command name or an existing alias or a system variable. And remember, it's what you want to type at the command line to invoke that external command. So I'm going to switch back to AutoCAD here. And I'll go back to my command aliases editor. And this time I'm going to choose shell commands instead of command aliases. You can see that there are some already in there. So for example, if I wanted to run the File Explorer, all I have to do is just type Explorer at the command line and it'll launch the Command Explorer. I can do the same thing for Notepad or Paintbrush, and you can see there's a few others here as well. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to add another one, so I'll choose Add, and then when the next window pops up, I'm going to type in the alias that I want here. So it just makes sense to me that I'm going to type in Excel. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. The command is the operating system command used to start the program. So you might think that you're just going to type in Excel, but if you have any experience in DOS at all, you can't just type in Excel. You have to tell it to where to look and what to do. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and say, okay, the command that I want to run is actually start, okay, and then Excel. So that start is going to tell it where to look and how to find it, and then the program, its name itself is Excel. Now, one more thing that we have to do to put in here is we have to tell it what bit flag we want to use. And bit flags are basically those things that tell AutoCAD what it's supposed to do while the other program is running, okay? And not to get too far into it, but there's like 16 different values that the bit flag can be, but probably you're going to use 0, 1, or 8, okay? Basically, 0 starts the new application and waits for it to finish. I don't want that because I don't want to have to be locked out of AutoCAD while I'm trying to use Microsoft Excel. So I'm not going to choose 1. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use bit 1, which will not wait for the application to finish. It'll launch Excel, and it won't wait for it to finish. So I'll be able to use Microsoft Excel and AutoCAD at the same time. If I look at a couple of the others, you want to try to avoid the bit values of 2 and 4. They're mutually exclusive, so you couldn't have a 6. That wouldn't work. And both of those make AutoCAD unavailable while you're trying to work for it. 8 is an interesting one. If you're trying to work with long file names that might have spaces in them, you'll use bit 8. That way you can, work with a command that has a long file name with a space in it. You'll just have to remember to enclose that file name in quotation marks, but that's not really going to be an issue with what we're doing here. So coming back to AutoCAD here, what I want to do now is I want to change that bit flag to the area 1, and then finally I want to add a prompt. Well, actually with this one I don't have to add a prompt because it's automatically going to launch Excel. I don't need to put anything at the command line. But if you were doing something else, like maybe deleting a file or renaming something, you might want to put at the command line, what's the file that you want to rename, right? So at this point I can just kind of ignore that. And coming again back to here, I've got everything filled in that I need. I've got the alias that I want to use. I've got the command that I want. Remember, it has to have the word start and then the command name. The bit flag is going to be set to 1, which will allow AutoCAD to continue running when it starts the Microsoft Excel. I can just choose OK. You'll see here that it's added it in. I can say OK again and OK again. And now from the command line, I can type in Excel It recognizes it as a regular command, press enter, and it will start Excel just like you would expect it to. Now, you do need to know the name of the command, and so I'll give you this one warning. If I come back here, let's say we wanted to do the same thing for Microsoft Word. I would add another shell. So I'm going to just call this one Word because, again, I know it works. The command, again, will be start and then the name of the command, but the name of the program, but the name of the program isn't Word. It's actually WinWord. Okay, so if you don't know what it is, you can kind of like look around, poke around in the start menu and find out what the actual name of it is. In this case, it's WinWord. Again, my bit flag is going to be 1. I'll choose OK. I'll choose OK. I'll choose OK. And now if I want to start the Word program, I can just type in Word, and it will automatically start Word for me. So, to finish this out, any changes you make to using this AutoCAD alias editor will automatically be migrated to the next version of AutoCAD when you download and start using the next version of AutoCAD next year. So you don't have to worry about it. But even if it didn't work, now you know how to go back in and save this information. Thanks for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe because it really helps us out.